I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2003. I didn't know, or I'd never heard of what bipolar was, because previous to that, my first nervous breakdown was back in the early 90s. So when I was admitted to hospital, the doctors weren't quite sure back then what was wrong with me. I just kept having nervous breakdowns. I was very depressed, like seeing things that weren't there, like hearing things that were just out of my control, but not even being on any recreational drugs at all. But it was just that the mind had gone, just completely gone, and it was terrifying. And to think that you're not in control of anything that's happening to your mind is something that it's really difficult to put into words. Only if you've been there yourself do you really understand the fear, the shame, the anxiety around it. You just feel like nobody understands you, and even the word mental health itself is it just says, okay, mental. So people just automatically think that person's mental because they've got a mental health problem. Well, you know something, I think that this is completely out of context altogether, and at the end of the day, I do believe that every human being on this planet will always, if they raise their hands and say, I've never had a mental health problem, that's not true. They have, but it's not been recognised because they're not really diagnosed with anything major. You know, even if a serious life event would take place in their life, like they had an accident or something, you're going through mental health trauma. You're not told that you are, but because your body's going through something, your brain's affected. So you are actually suffering from mental health. So I just, as the time's got on, I just feel like the stigmatism is slowly decreasing somewhat, but it's just that for me it's the title of mental health. I don't like it. Nobody likes it, and straight away you're being labelled as you're mental. It has to change. With that in mind, then, you know, if it can be addressed in another way, then I think we as human beings would feel more open to it, less ashamed of it. It's just, it's not right. You know, we should feel free enough to go to somebody to say, look, you know, I'm experiencing hallucinations and I've not taken any recreational drugs. I'm hearing something in my mind and I've not taken anything. I'm really frightened. But it's that tends to stop people from approaching a GP, or, you know, just reaching out for help for a psychologist or psychiatrist. I think it's just, we have to get through this now and say, look, you know, it's something we can help you with. It's okay. Don't be ashamed, because it's part of you, and, you know, it's not something that you've been born with. In actual fact, it's more of a case of something you've maybe have suffered in your life, or you've suppressed, and that, for me personally, that's what's happened. You know, because when we're first born, I mean, no doctor can tell you, or by blood test, okay, so now your baby has this and that and the other. Not so. I just think that for me, it was over time, and with certain events in my life, the brain and my body could only take so much trauma, abuse, narcissistic abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. So what I did was I used drugs, I drank, so that I numbed every part of any feeling whatsoever, so I didn't have to deal with the pain. I didn't want to be in reality. It made me feel like I could cope better if I was numb. It made me forget what happened to me, but that was only a temporary measure. I didn't ever dream that I would ever have some kind of nervous breakdown and then have 14 years of going in and out of hospitals, seeing various doctors, being treated for certain things. I mean, so many medications, they just weren't working until, thank God, somebody had said and diagnosed me correctly and said, Fabia, you have bipolar disorder. Never heard of it. I thought that was it. I was terminally ill. I didn't understand. And when it was explained to me, it was like manic stages of feeling low and depressed. I knew what that was because I'd been there so many times. I knew that I was suicidal. Many times I'd even attempted to kill myself. But I think deep down that was a cry for help, and I'm so grateful to be here today. But I think that people with mental illness, we aren't given a chance to, scream help. I'm drowning here in my mind and I need help urgently. And when people say, hi, how are you? And you go, hi, I'm fine, big smile, and you've just put up this persona of like everything's great, and actually you're not. Deep down there's something, I don't know, it's like festering inside of you, like a pain that once you release, it's like, how do you deal with all of these emotions that you're feeling? How do you put them all in a straight order and try to come to terms with like that happened to me, so I need to address it and try and find a way that I can then function with it and understand why it happened, and never blame myself for it, and just try and move on with life. Trying to get coping strategies is, for me personally, it works. Because of certain traumas that happened to me, I get really bad panic attacks. Some days I don't go out. I feel like I'm having a heart attack. Like my heart feels like it's so fast and in pain almost, but I know also that's emotional as well as a physical thing. So my doctor has said to me, I can only give you a certain amount of pills, which I take. And these are lorazepams, which I take, and they're 1 milligram. But what I do is I cut them in half because, I don't need a whole one. It's just sometimes just to take that edge off of, because I get tremors. And I always think, oh God, people are going to think, the worst of me. So within the anxiety comes like, oh God, what if I go outside and then people are looking at me because I don't look great, and I'm shaking, and they might think that I'm using something else, and I'm not, and it's just anxiety, and I'm sweating, and the mind starts to play tricks on you, and it's all of that really. But I find with lorazepam, that's what really helps me. So having said that, part of the mental health anyway, once being diagnosed with bipolar disorder, aka manic depression, which is the highs and the lows, I was given certain medications, which are Depakote 500 milligrams, and certainly not to be taken when you're pregnant, and also 250, and so I take 750 in the morning, and along with that, because of my depression, I take fluoxetine, which is part of the Prozac family, and they're a 20 milligram, and I have found that they are the best personally for me, but there are so many different medications that people get prescribed. I just found some kind of relief knowing that I had this illness, and how to like say to myself, well, just own up to it. Yes, you've got a mental illness or whatever, even though I hate that word. You now know that you have to look after yourself and take the medication, and, you know, try not to miss it, and try and take care of what you're trying to do in your life. And because you can see a total change in me. Like, if I'm well, that's because I'm stable. If I'm unwell, that's because I'm not taking the medication. And people who know me and people who love me can see the difference, and that's when they're realizing, because they can see the signs. So there's a complete personality change. I'm not talking sensibly. I'm not talking in this world. I would say things like, oh, I'm fine, I'm well, it's everyone else that's mad. It's that kind of thing. So it's that thing to really look out for. And also, I think this is a really, really important thing. We can all go around in this world and put up this brave mask of, you know, I'm fine, you know, let's get on with the day. There aren't any words written on us. You know, we're very clever as human beings to go, I've got to be strong. I don't want this person to know, in the office or on a bus or whoever is next to you or near you, to pick up on anything. I think it was Robin Williams who said something on the lines of, you know, people who want to make other people smile and laugh are the ones who are in pain. And that's actually true, because you don't want anyone else to feel that pain. Yeah, so just be careful, and maybe be more alert. I mean, it's got me a bit emotional now thinking about it, because I've known many people who've took their lives, and I just wish that I could have been there. And stop them. I know you can't be responsible for everybody's life, but if someone's come up to you and opened up to you and is going, I'm fine, I don't think you realise. I don't think this world, we're so kind of like judge, and a society, we just judge everybody too quick all the time. Don't give people a chance. Sorry. And yeah, I think we have to be more vigilant and care for one another more. and reach out to people as well. And when you ask somebody, how are you? Mean it. Don't just say in a passing thing, you know, yeah, I'm fine. Just stop, because that person may really want to know, how are you? It's not, oh, how are you? Bye. We're all suffering. I think we're all suffering, especially from COVID. COVID is really, you know, it's, oh God, don't want to go into it too much because so many people are suffering because of their loved ones who they've unfortunately lost. But we're all in pain every day of our lives. And this epidemic of mental health has been around for centuries. I mean, many years ago, people were put in asylums, and you can imagine how terrifying that would be in this day and age. You know, so come on, we've got to move forward with the times. We've got to really understand one another now and think, gosh, you know, be a bit more sensitive to one another and care. You know, when I first had my breakdown, I lost a lot of people around me, and that's not their fault. I think it was because nobody was really educated. Nobody really understood it. There was no campaigns. All the charities were always there, like Mind, for instance, which is in my local hometown, who really helped me through a lot. You know, back then, I wish I had a bit more confidence to go and stand up for myself as I am right now and go, okay, I've got this illness, but do you know what? I'm going to deal with it. And I don't ever want to compare myself to anybody else who's got an illness, because we all have our own personal battles in life. And we're all, every single human being's wired differently. But when you start sharing how you're really feeling inside, I think you then realise that you've got more in common with the person you're sharing with than you actually think. I think we just need to break down a certain barrier with one another. We're human after all, you know, we've all got a heart and feelings, and no one's perfect. I don't want to be bloody perfect, that's for sure. My bipolar has made me really creative and who I am, and I wouldn't change it now. Years ago, I was very embarrassed. I thought, oh my God, what's happened to me? I'm going to hide from the world. I don't want to do anything anymore. That's it. I'm over. I'm done. I'm an embarrassment to my family. But now, no. It's happened. I've got a diagnosis. I'm extremely grateful to the doctors and the hospitals because we got there in the end. You know, never be ashamed. Never, ever be ashamed of taking a pill. I mean, for instance, I'm on quetiapine, 25 milligrams at night time. This is an antipsychotic. And again, the word alone, psychotic, for someone who is sensitive or has mental health, it's reading into that psychotic. It's not nice, because the imagination goes, oh God, you know, oh, that's it. I've been told by the GP it's an antipsychotic, it's going to calm me down. No, it doesn't mean you're psychotic. What it does mean is that there's an imbalance in our brains, and this is going to make us better. And it does. It helps me personally because I've been prescribed it. as of my diagnosis. I know people with certain illnesses who refuse to take certain tablets, but that's their choice. You know, they enjoy the highs and the lows of where the bipolar takes them. That's good. They can control it, whatever, that's up to them. But this is my personal view on it. And yeah, I believe, for me, in my personal life, if I wasn't on this prescription, because it does suit me, everything now is right, I don't think I'll be here. And to think I've just admitted that is scary, because you kind of think, gosh, someone's saved me, and now you think, right, okay, because of that, because you're so grateful that someone's recognised the illness in you, they've put you on the right path, and you know, you've gone along to the counselling and everything like that. So if you recognise it in another person, you do want to help. A lot of people will reject you, but that's something at least you tried. But I think that females are more inclined to talk, whereas men, I think it's just wrong that they're not able to go and feel confident enough to say, well, you know, to their wives, to their girlfriends, to their sisters, whoever, or even to their own fathers, brothers, or whoever. They shouldn't have to feel that way. We are all human, whether you're man, woman, transgender, whoever. Doesn't matter about your sexual orientation. What matters is about your health in your mind, your body and your soul, and you're connected to yourself, and you can move on with your life and be happy. I just think, personally, there needs to be education at least once a week in schools, in colleges, at work, any place that humans are in contact with one another. I think we need to go, enough is enough, and we need to go and sort of be more open with one another and break down that embarrassment. It's so important. We could be saving people. It's quite surprising, really, if once people know, or once people did know who, what I'd been through with my mental health and, you know, certain things that had happened, I think people were more inclined to approach me and privately message me and say, I've been through that, and I just want to say thank you. And do you know what I mean? It's just like that's enough. We shouldn't have to be embarrassed of who we are. Definitely not. No. So what if you're rewired against somebody else? Who cares? You should be caring about you. They do care about you, but I think what it is if we're more open and stop shutting ourselves off and talk about this illness, whatever it is, anxiety, depression, OCD, autism, ADHD, ADD, schizophrenia, psychosis even, with ladies who have had babies especially, if they get left so long after they've had postnatal depression, it just goes to psychosis. And then what? It's that bit of like psychosis. They need help. And people are just being left. I think, you know, something's got to change in our government, in our system, of the way that we're treated with our mental health. Everybody, from even young kids, when they're at school, you can now see that more children are skiving off of school, because I've seen them myself with their uniforms on, just walking down the road at any time of the day when they should be in school. Because you just read their body language and you know that someone's picked on them, hurt them, abused them. They can't talk to anybody. So what do? They roam the streets the rest of the day because they're frightened. They don't want to speak. They're in fear. They can't go to school because they're frightened the person will get them, or they don't want to go home because maybe their parents are working, or maybe they come back early and then catch the child at home, and it's too much. We have to help. We have to help people, and I, for one, know that we can help each other. Just stop and talk. Don't be embarrassed. If you want to share something, share it. Who cares? If you're in a shopping centre, if you're at the local swimming baths, who cares? If you're in the street, who's listening? Doesn't matter, because the person earwigging, you might have just saved them when you're having a conversation with somebody else about if they're feeling a bit low, whatever. So my bipolar, it's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot about people. It's taught me a lot about illnesses. It's even opened my eyes because I've got a son with autism, so I even care for him. I know that if I'm not well, I can't care for him. So he has taught me so much about autism, the traits, the way that his mind thinks, and I feel blessed because he's opened my eyes to even more, and again, it's more of an understanding of another human being. It's not a case of like, you've got this wrong with your brain, you shall be locked away. I mean, goodness, you know, we're not back in the olden days now, so thank God that we're starting to not judge so much, but it still happens, believe me. You know, especially when my son was younger, people would look at him in the supermarket as if he's just being naughty. Like, because actually he wasn't being naughty, he was just very, very upset and anxious and tired and frustrated, because when most people with autism, they can't always speak. So it was the noises he was making. He was crying and screaming and yelling, and, you know, and the times that I just want to say to certain people in supermarkets, he's autistic, I just ran out of energy. Some people understood, but not everybody. I just think, well, yeah, we need to educate people for sure on everything. One thing I do find really helpful is putting pen to paper, putting those feelings down. Doesn't matter how bad it is, that's probably the best time to do it, is to pen it, because then you don't have to show it to anybody. It can be in your own private book, lock it away, do whatever. But as long as you're seeing what you're feeling, for me, that was the beginning of a recovery. Because my own psychiatrist said to me, you need to start writing down your feelings. And I was like, why is he telling me this? He's only supposed to be sat there maybe advising me or whatever. So that was quite different. But I knew why. I knew why. I didn't understand it at first, but now I know, because I became an author about my history with mental health and how I became diagnosed and things, and it worked. It worked, and I'm proud to say that I don't make any money on it. It all goes to charity. And that's where it needs to be. Helping others. And that's why I wrote it. It helped me to pen it. It helped me to see what feelings were coming up for me. What was coming up, like if I was agitated or angry at somebody, or in fear, or having a panic attack, or just anything that was coming to my mind, a flashback of a trauma that I felt was very, very important if I had nobody around me, just to pen something down. And yeah, extremely therapeutic, really, really therapeutic. Yeah, so it made sense in the end. At first, when I was diagnosed, I just thought I was another nut job going to be, locked away. Actually, no. I've got a beautiful son, and I'm so grateful for my partner and family. I'm very lucky, and friends who I adore very much. I don't have many friends, but I think it's the friends that are there for you at your lowest ebb. That's the proof, and you'll see people's true colours. But never be ashamed of who you are, never be ashamed to open up. Just be you and live your life. Don't take your life. The man upstairs will do that, not you. I've learnt that. It didn't work. Talk. You're number one. Care about yourself. Love yourself. That was what I found most difficult through my trauma. I was going through many, many different emotions when I stopped numbing myself with any alcoholic substances and recreational drugs. The feelings were overwhelming, and I didn't know how to place them, so all very displaced. Over time, and it's not a cliche, you heal. I forgave the person and the persons, actually, saying that. If you forgive, I find it released, it releases something. It gives you back your power. Take back your power, because then you've won. You're not holding on to the pain and the bitterness, which is dragging you down and making you angry and very negative. Why should you be negative? I was like that for years. I worked out something. I was carrying someone else's pain. So what they did is they transferred it onto me. So I had a choice. Two choices. Do I continue a life for someone else? Do I let their ill pain live within me? Or do I free myself? And that's what I did. I chose to forgive. You can't forget because you still get flashbacks. It's trauma. Christ, you're only human. Move on. You move on. It's okay. If something triggers you, there are trigger points that are going to be around, but you know that you can deal with them. But I don't want to go into anything like that because that's too heavy. But yeah, you're not mental. No one is mental. We've just got the chemicals in our brains are all different. Every single human being, none of us are born with the exact amount of chemical in our brains. If we could all go through brain scanners, you would see that if you have depression, it works one way, it would light up in certain colours. If you have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and that would be for many of our servicemen and women, you would see there'd be many different colours going on in the brain because of the activity or not so active. There'd be different colours under the screen. The same with autism, ADHD, bipolar, schizophrenia, OCD, everything. It's how it works. And often or not, if you have anything going on in your mind, the pain is carried through the body. So for me, I find that if something's happening in my life and I'm really depressed, straight away my posture changes and I'm very hunched and tired, and I feel so heavy, lethargic, and I'm thinking, I don't even want to get out of bed. Oh, I look fine because I've got makeup on and stuff and I've got dressed, but you have to rethink that one, don't you? She might look all right, but is she really feeling all right? It's heavy depression. It's so debilitating that even trying to go to the bathroom to have a shower, to get dressed, is such hard work. You haven't got the energy. You have not got the energy. You shut yourself off. You make plans. People may invite you out. You say, yeah, I'll go. And then at the last minute, nah. You just completely shut down. And then you feel guilt. And then you feel, God, I've let other people down. I've let myself down. And then, before you know it, you're in this vicious circle. And it's trying to get out of that. Can be really difficult. But what I've taught myself now is, rather than fight against any of the depression feelings that I'm going through, fight against not having the energy to get up and do things, I go with it. I go with any feeling, or if I don't want to do something, then I don't. Because I'd rather not push myself too far if I'm not right. Because you have to go with how you're feeling. The next day, I could be absolutely A1. I could be fine. I could be like, I'm fine. I feel better today. I don't feel heavy. I feel a bit more relaxed. My shoulders are back. My head's up. I feel better. Yeah, it's all of that, really. So it's kind of signs to look out for in your body, and like pains and the way that body language. Before I was diagnosed with debilitating mind illnesses is what I'm going to call it from now on. Yeah, it's a long word. I never really read people's body language at all, but then I started to be open to it once I suffered in that way. I was picking up on their feelings. I was like looking at them thinking, oh my God, you know, the way that they're walking, they're holding so much pain. And yeah, it's almost like you just want to go, excuse me, but it's kind of like a bit too much in this world to go, well, you know, hi, you know, you look really sad. It's kind of like not an approach that we kind of do as humans, because then, you know, you never know how somebody's going to react. If you know that person, then I would find that it's, for me, it's quite easy to go, is everything all right? Are you sure? And give them a moment, and I would always, you know, and before I know it, people are opening up, which we need to do more of, really, is open up. Feel free to open up and not be scared. Don't be scared. It's okay. It's okay. No one's going to judge you. No one's going to judge you. In fact, I think to show weakness is true strength. To show weakness is to show true strength.